Do you ever feel like your mind is running in 1,000 directions at once, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't stay locked in on what really matters? You sit down with the best intentions, ready to work, ready to move forward, but then one notification, one distraction, one small decision, and suddenly your focus is gone. Hours slip away, and with them, your energy, your clarity, your progress. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack talent. It's because focus, real focus, is harder than most people admit. And Brendon Burchard has spent decades uncovering the habits that separate the distracted from the disciplined, the scattered from the successful. What if I told you that focus is not just about willpower? That's what most people believe, but it's not the truth. Focus is a skill, a discipline, a series of deliberate choices that can be mastered, practiced, and turned into your greatest advantage. And in this video, we're going to uncover how Brendon breaks it down into clear, powerful steps that anyone can follow. These are not the obvious tips you've heard 100 times before. We're diving into the deeper, lesser-known truths that most people overlook, the hidden forces pulling your attention away, the silent decisions that drain your energy before your day even begins, and the surprising habits that can lock you back into momentum. You see, most people think focus is about fighting distractions. But Brendon teaches us something far more profound. Focus is about creating clarity. Without clarity, no amount of motivation will help you stay on track. Think about it. When you don't know what matters most, everything feels urgent, everything feels important, and your mind gets pulled apart. But when you define your mission, when you anchor into your real why, suddenly the noise quiets down. You stop scattering your time on trivial tasks and start pouring energy into the work that actually moves your life forward. And here's where it gets interesting. Brendon often points out that the small decisions we make throughout the day, what to wear, what to eat, what to click, what to answer, are not small at all. They pile up, they drain us, they create decision fatigue. By the time you reach the things that matter, your mind is already exhausted. Successful people don't allow that to happen. They simplify, they automate, they remove choices that don't matter so they can channel all their mental energy into the choices that do. That's a hidden habit of high performers most people never talk about. But there's another side to this, something Brendon insists on. Staying focused is not about grinding until you burn out. It's about aligning your energy with your purpose. That's why he talks about saying no first. Not later, not after you've thought it through for days, but immediately. Because every yes you give to the wrong thing is a no to your mission. And how many times have you felt overwhelmed? Not because you lacked time, but because you gave your time away to things that didn't truly matter. This is where the drama of life unfolds. Every day you're standing at a crossroads. On one side, distractions, endless scrolling, other people's priorities. On the other, your dreams, your growth, the life you know you're capable of. And focus is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. The question is, which side will you choose? Brendon has studied the world's top performers, coached leaders, and inspired millions across the globe. And the truth he shares is this: staying focused is not luck. It's not about being born disciplined. It's about setting up your life so focus becomes inevitable. It's about designing your day, your environment, and even your mindset to protect what matters most. That is the secret. That is the habit of greatness. In this video, we'll walk through these insights step by step. You'll discover how to cut away the noise, how to protect your attention like the precious resource it is, and how to unlock the energy and clarity that most people never tap into. If you've ever felt scattered, lost, or distracted, the next few minutes could be a turning point. Because once you understand these principles, you'll never look at focus the same way again. So stay with me until the very end, because I promise the final insight could change how you approach your entire day, and maybe even your entire life. Welcome to Habits of Greatness. If you're ready to master your focus, if you're ready to step into the clarity and discipline that Brendon Burchard teaches, then make sure you subscribe right now, because we are just getting started. Before we talk about the bigger habits that drive focus, we need to address something most people never think about: how many tiny decisions are stealing their energy every single day. Brendon Burchard calls this decision fatigue. It's not dramatic. It's not obvious, but it's one of the silent killers of focus. Think about your own mornings. You wake up, and before you've even had a chance to center yourself, your brain is already firing through choices. What should I wear? Should I check my phone? What's for breakfast? Do I answer that text now or later? Each of these seems harmless, but every single one costs you mental energy, and that energy is finite. Decision fatigue is the gradual depletion of your ability to make strong, clear choices as the day goes on. Neuroscientists have shown that your brain, like a muscle, gets tired when it's forced to make constant decisions. Brendon highlights this in his work because he's seen it play out with high performers again and again. They don't necessarily work harder than everyone else. They just work smarter by cutting out the flood of unnecessary decisions. And when you hear that, it might sound small. But imagine how many choices you make in a single day. Dozens, hundreds, more like thousands. Some studies suggest the average adult makes around 35,000 decisions daily, most of them unconscious. No wonder by afternoon, your focus feels scattered. Now here's the truth. Most people miss. It's not the big decisions that usually break your focus. It's the accumulation of the tiny ones. What to wear? Which email to open first? What app to tap? Should you answer that call? Should you scroll for just 5 minutes? Each time, you burn a little fuel. Each time your brain uses willpower. Even if you don't realize it, and then, when it's time to make the big, meaningful decision, the one that could move your project forward, the one that could change your future, you're already running on fumes. That's why people procrastinate. That's why people freeze. It's not because they don't care. It's because their mental energy has been drained by 1,000 small leaks. Brendon shares a fascinating perspective here. Successful people don't avoid decisions altogether. They just design their lives so the trivial ones are already handled. Think of Steve Jobs wearing the same black turtleneck every day, or Mark Zuckerberg with his gray t-shirt uniform. That wasn't a lack of style, it was a strategy. They knew that if they saved their brain power on clothing choices, they could direct it toward innovation, leadership, creativity. Now, you don't have to wear the same shirt every day, but you can take the principle and apply it. Simplify, automate, reduce. Let's start with routines. A strong routine is one of the simplest ways to cut decision fatigue. When you wake up and know exactly what you're going to do first. Drink water, stretch, write down goals. You don't waste energy asking, what should I do next? That clarity is focus in motion. Brendon often emphasizes morning routines because they set the tone for the rest of the day. If the first hour of your morning is clear and intentional, you'll have more focus available for the hours that follow. And it's not just mornings. Evening routines too can lock you into rhythm. Imagine finishing your day by setting out clothes for tomorrow, or prepping your meals in advance. That's one less decision tomorrow, one less leak of energy. Another way is presets. High performers create preset choices for the things that don't matter so they can protect their energy for the things that do. That could mean having a set breakfast rotation instead of deciding from scratch every morning. It could mean automating bill payments so you don't spend energy each month figuring it out. It could even mean having a dedicated playlist for work sessions, so you don't scroll endlessly trying to choose the perfect background music. Each of these seems small, but together they free up immense mental bandwidth. Now, here's something Brendon highlights that takes it deeper. Cutting decisions isn't just about simplifying, it's about protecting your mission. When you let small, meaningless decisions clutter your mind, you're essentially giving your future away piece by piece. You're trading the clarity needed for your dreams for the comfort of short-term convenience. But when you simplify, when you deliberately decide once and lock it in, you're protecting your higher purpose. You're saying, I know where my energy belongs and I refuse to waste it on trivia. That's a discipline of greatness. Think about how this could look in your life. Imagine opening your closet and every option supports the person you want to become. No wasted thought. Imagine opening your fridge and every item is aligned with your health goals. No bargaining, no second guessing. Imagine sitting down to work and knowing exactly what task comes first, because you decided last night. That's what Brendon means when he says fewer decisions lead to more focus. You're not just saving time, you're saving yourself. The real drama here is that most people don't notice decision fatigue until it's too late. They blame themselves for lack of focus. They say, I'm just lazy or I need more willpower. But the truth is their willpower has been quietly drained before they even got to the work that matters. And that's why this idea is so powerful. Once you see the hidden cost of unnecessary decisions, you can take back control. You can free your brain for what counts. Here's an example Brendon often gives. Imagine a writer who sits down to create, but first spends 30 minutes deciding on music, then another 20 minutes adjusting their environment, then another 15 minutes making coffee. By the time they actually start writing, they've already burned through their mental edge. But contrast that with someone who has it all preset. The playlist starts automatically, the desk is ready, the coffee is prepped. When they sit down, they go straight into the flow. Same person, same potential, but the second one conserves their focus. That is the difference routines and presets make. It's also worth noting that reducing decisions doesn't mean living a boring, rigid life. It means consciously choosing where to be flexible and where to be automatic. High performers save their flexibility for the areas that matter: creativity, relationships, innovation. They don't waste it on breakfast cereal or inbox order. That's the brilliance of this principle. You free yourself from trivia so you can dive deeper into the meaningful. And here's something you may not have considered. The very act of making fewer decisions can actually increase your confidence. Why? Because when you set a routine, when you preset choices, you begin to trust yourself. You build reliability. You prove that you can stay consistent, and consistency breeds confidence. You start to feel in control, not just of your schedule, but of your life. That's the hidden payoff most people don't expect. So, as Brendon teaches, make fewer decisions. Strip away the noise. Don't let your brain bleed energy on things that don't matter. Automate where you can. Build routines that serve your future. And watch how much sharper, clearer, and more focused you become, not by forcing it, but by designing it. Because when your mind is freed from the weight of 1,000 tiny choices, you finally have the strength to focus on the few that truly shape your destiny. Before we dive deeper into strategies for focus, let's pause on something simple but powerful: the weight of decisions. Brendon Burchard often reminds us that one of the greatest enemies of focus isn't distraction itself, it's the exhaustion that comes from decision fatigue. You may not notice it as it happens, but every time you ask yourself, what should I wear? What should I eat? Should I check this notification? Should I reply now or later? You are draining a small portion of your mental energy. Those choices feel harmless, but they add up like invisible weights stacked on your shoulders throughout the day. By the afternoon, when it's finally time to work on what really matters, your brain is tired, your willpower is weak, and your focus is already scattered. That's why high performers, the people Brendon studies and coaches, design their lives to eliminate unnecessary decisions. They don't waste time debating over socks or breakfast. They simplify, they preset, they build routines that carry them forward. Imagine a morning where you don't have to think about what comes next because it's already decided. Your clothes are chosen, your meals are prepared, your calendar is set. That mental space is now free, and you can use it on the work that shapes your future. This isn't about being rigid or boring, it's about conserving your energy for the battles that matter. But simplifying decisions alone isn't enough. You also need clarity about why you are focusing in the first place. Brendon says that without a mission, you're vulnerable to every distraction, every shiny object, every request for your time. Think about it. When you don't know where you're going, every road looks tempting. You might start one project, then drift into another, then lose hours scrolling because you don't feel anchored to anything. A mission changes that. A mission is your filter. It's the compass that tells you this matters, that doesn't. When you define your why, the fog begins to clear. Suddenly, choices that once felt difficult become obvious. Should you take on that extra project at work? If it serves your mission, maybe yes. If it doesn't, the answer is no. Should you attend that social event? Again, your mission gives you the answer. This is why Brendon insists that clarity is power. Without it, you are reactive. With it, you are intentional. Your mission cuts through the noise. It protects you from drifting. It makes your focus stronger because you're no longer asking, what should I do? You're asking, does this align with my why? And this brings us to another habit: learning to say no first. Most people say yes far too quickly. They agree to meetings, favors, opportunities without pausing to ask if it actually serves their goals. Then later they feel overwhelmed, overcommitted, and resentful. Brendon teaches the opposite. Don't commit immediately. Pause, breathe, evaluate. Ask yourself, does this align with my mission? Will this bring me closer to my goals, or will it pull me away? That short pause could save you hours, days, even years of wasted effort. Saying no isn't about being cold or selfish. It's about honoring your priorities. Sambathla, a leadership thinker who echoes Brendon's philosophy, puts it simply: every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing. Every time you fill your calendar with what doesn't matter, you are stealing time from what does. Learning to say no quickly, kindly, and firmly is one of the most liberating skills you can master. It keeps your focus intact, it shields your energy, and it sends a powerful message to yourself. My mission matters enough to protect. Of course, even with a mission and strong boundaries, the modern world still assaults us with distractions. Social media pings, endless notifications, an environment full of interruptions. Brendon warns us that focus isn't just about inner discipline, it's also about external design. If your phone is buzzing every 2 minutes, if your workspace is cluttered, if your day is unstructured, your brain never gets the chance to drop into deep work. The solution? Cut out distractions. Like a pro, turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room. Clear your workspace so your mind feels clear too. Create rituals like a set focus block of time where nothing is allowed to intrude. You can't control the entire world, but you can create a bubble of focus around yourself. And here's something Brendon emphasizes: distractions aren't always external. Sometimes they're internal. Wandering thoughts, sudden impulses, the urge to check something just for a second. That's why rituals matter so much. A ritual is a signal to your brain. Now it's time to focus. Maybe it's lighting a candle before you write, or putting on noise-canceling headphones before you study. Over time, those cues train your mind to enter focus faster and deeper. Finally, to tie all of this together, you need a daily routine that protects your focus. Brendon often talks about how your day is either designed by you or stolen by others. If you wake up with no plan, the world will hand you emails, messages, requests, demands. But if you wake up with clarity, if you know your priorities, your blocks of time, your most important tasks, you take back control. A strong morning routine is key here. Start the day with practices that center you, energize you, and remind you of your mission. That might be journaling, exercise, or reviewing your top 3 priorities. What matters is that you enter the day on your terms. And don't stop at the morning. Protect your focus throughout the day with structured work blocks. Brendon suggests setting aside uninterrupted stretches of time for your most important work, then taking deliberate breaks to recharge. That rhythm, focus break, keeps your energy high and your mind sharp. At the end of the day, reflect on what mattered most. Did your actions align with your mission? Did you protect your focus, or did you give it away? That reflection builds awareness, and awareness builds discipline. When you make fewer decisions, define your mission, learn to say no, cut distractions, and build routines, you create a powerful foundation for focus. Brendon Burchard's message is clear: focus isn't a talent you're born with, it's a habit you design, protect, and practice every single day. Progress. It might seem like a simple word, but according to Brendon Burchard, progress is the very fuel of focus. When we see ourselves moving forward, even in small ways, something powerful happens inside us. Our mind sharpens, our energy lifts, and our motivation returns. Think about the last time you checked something important off your list. That sense of completion gave you momentum, didn't it? That's no accident. Brendon explains that progress itself becomes motivation, and motivation feeds our ability to focus even more deeply. It's a cycle, a loop of growth. The trap most people fall into is waiting for huge leaps. They believe progress only counts when it's big, dramatic, or life-changing. But Brendon insists it's the small wins that matter most. Write 1 page, not a book. Take 1 walk, not a marathon. Have 1 tough conversation, not solve every relationship issue in a day. These small wins build trust with yourself. They prove that you are moving. They signal to your brain that your efforts are paying off. And when you see that signal, focus becomes easier. You want to keep going. You want to stack another win on top of the one you just created. That's why tracking progress is essential. Whether it's a journal, an app, or a simple checklist, tracking lets you see the proof. You can look back and realize, I am advancing. I am moving closer to my goals. That awareness renews your focus again and again. But there's another dimension to focus that Brendon points out: mindset shifts. Too many people wait till they feel like focusing. They say, I'll start when I'm motivated, or I'll work when I'm in the mood. But that's a dangerous trap. Feelings come and go. They rise and fall with the weather, with a poor night's sleep, with a single critical comment from someone else. If you rely only on feelings, your focus will never be stable. Brendon teaches that true focus comes from prioritizing what matters more than how you feel in the moment. Discomfort is not the enemy. In fact, discomfort is often the signal that you're stretching, growing, and doing something meaningful. Imagine sitting down to write that proposal, or start that workout, or launch that new business call. You might not feel like it. Your body resists. Your mind throws up excuses. That's the moment for a mindset shift. Instead of asking, do I feel like it? Ask, does this matter? If the answer is yes, you push through. Not recklessly, not with harshness, but with a blend of self-love and demand. This is another principle Brendon highlights. Push yourself with kindness. It's not about berating yourself. It's about holding yourself to a higher standard while still recognizing your worth. You can say, I love myself enough to demand more from myself. That balance between compassion and accountability is where consistent focus lives. Now let's look at another layer: your schedule. Brendon often asks his clients to audit their time, review it carefully, almost like a scientist. Where does your day actually go? Write it down. You may be shocked at how much is consumed by trivial tasks, obligations that don't serve you, or distractions that add no value. Time is the ultimate equalizer. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The difference lies in how you use them. Once you see clearly where your hours are being stolen, you gain the power to take them back. Cancel what doesn't matter. Reduce or delegate what doesn't align. Say yes only to the tasks and commitments that feed your mission. This is not just about productivity. It's about protecting your energy, your creativity, your focus. When your schedule is cluttered, your mind will be too. But when your schedule is clean, your mind can concentrate. You create space not only for work, but also for rest, for reflection, for living. That's the paradox. Focus isn't just about doing more. It's about removing the noise so the important work can shine through. And once your schedule supports you, the next step is creating rituals. Brendon calls them focus rituals. These are the repeated patterns that tell your brain, now it's time to work, now it's time to rest. For example, you might set up focus blocks, 90 minutes of uninterrupted effort, no phone, no email, just deep concentration, then a short break, then another block. That rhythm keeps your energy high and your attention steady. You can also design pre-work rituals, maybe making tea, clearing your desk, or taking 3 deep breaths. Those simple cues become powerful triggers. Over time, your brain learns that when the ritual begins, focus follows. Don't forget the wind down rituals. How you close your day matters as much as how you start it. A short reflection, planning tomorrow's priorities, or shutting down your devices can send a message to your mind. The workday is complete. This prevents your focus from leaking late into the night, when rest should be your priority, and your environment plays a role too. A clean desk, good lighting, a quiet corner, these are not luxuries. They are tools for focus. When your space supports your mind responds with clarity. But even with rituals, distractions will still try to sneak in. That's why Brendon pushes us to reframe them. Don't just see distractions as harmless breaks. See them for what they are: thieves of your future. Every notification you check, every mindless scroll, every small interruption might cost you more than you realize. It's not just the seconds you lose, it's the momentum. It takes time to get back into flow, to recover the depth of thought you had before. Even small distractions can derail dreams because they chip away at your most precious resource, attention. Yeah, Brendon doesn't say you should live like a monk, never resting, never stepping away. Instead, he teaches intentional breaks. Replace distractions with deliberate pauses. Instead of scrolling through endless feeds, take a 5-minute walk. Instead of checking notifications, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Instead of reacting to every buzz, schedule specific times to check your messages. This way, your breaks renew you instead of draining you. They become fuel, not sabotage. What emerges from all of this is a life designed for focus. You move from progress to motivation to deeper focus over and over again. You shift your mindset to prioritize meaning over mood. You audit your schedule so your time reflects your values. You create rituals that prime your brain for clarity. And you see distractions not as harmless but as costly, replacing them with breaks that serve you. This is the architecture of focus that Brendon Burchard lays out. It's not complicated, but it is deliberate. It requires awareness, choices, and practice. And once you begin, you start to see how focus isn't something you chase, it's something you create. Here's the truth. Staying focused doesn't come down to luck or talent. It's about the small, deliberate choices you make every single day. We talked about making fewer decisions to save your energy, defining your mission so you know what truly matters, learning to say no before you give away your time, cutting out distractions, building strong routines, tracking your progress, shifting your mindset, auditing your schedule, and creating rituals that anchor your attention. Now, here's your challenge. Don't just listen. Apply, pick one of these strategies and practice it for just 1 week. Journal your progress, notice how it changes your energy, your clarity, your results. You'll be surprised by how quickly focus grows once you nurture it. And always remember, focus isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill you build. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. If this video helped you, make sure to like it, subscribe to our channel, Habits of Greatness, and share it with someone who needs a little more clarity and focus in their life. Your journey to greatness starts right here, one focused step at a time.